The unrest that followed after a video of two women being stripped and sexually assaulted in India's Manipur has led to chaos and panic in its neighbouring state. As per the reports, people from the Meitei community residing in Mizoram are leaving and moving places where they feel more protected. Apart from this, the United States of America has also said that it was deeply concerned by what is happening in Manipur. The assault was reported in May during the intense ethnic clashes between the Kuki and the Meitei communities over Meitei's demand for scheduled tribe status in the country. To talk more on this and what's happening in Manipur, we have with us Subir Bhaumik. He's a journalist. He's joining us live from Kolkata. Thank you so much for joining us from WION, Mr. Bhaumik.
Thank you.
Right. Now, Mr. Bhaumik, it seems like the problem of Manipur is not something which erupted today, but it has its roots in the past. And in the latest, there is a drug angle which has also surfaced. Shed some light on that.
Well, the trouble is that, there has been sort of deep-seated ethnic animosities in Manipur, which has erupted from time to time. We have seen the Naga-Kuki clashes of 1990, in the 1990s, when more than 150 people were killed. There have been an eruption of violence when the Naga ceasefire was extended to Manipur, and people in Manipur are apprehensive that a part of Manipur may be given away to a greater Naga state, which the Naga rebel group NSCN is demanding. We have seen this violence in the past, but let me make two things very clear. We've never seen the kind of sexual violence or attack on women that has been witnessed this time. There have been fights before. Naga militants have gone into Kuki villages and killed, a number of Kuki villagers and vice versa. But the attack on women is generally something that is not associated with the Northeast. It's more of a mainland phenomenon. But this time, there has been very systematic attack on women of the other community, and this particular video, which has now gone viral,
right,
has only served to highlight the new trend in Northeast, in Manipur definitely, and in Northeast in general, that women have been targeted in a systematic way, and has been used as a marker for humiliating the community. So by stripping them naked and molesting them, raping them, gang raping them.
Right. Mr. Bhaumik, you speak of how this is the first time that women have come under an attack. They've been used as pawns and they've been sexually assaulted. But why now? What triggered the ethnic violence which led to such an act taking place in Manipur?
No. Ethnic violence has happened in Manipur before, and this time it has been very intense. But we have seen these forms of ethnic violence in Manipur before. But these kind of attacks on women, this is a new phenomenon. I would imagine, this is at the risk of being, misunderstood. Let me say that this may be a mainstream effect. These kind of things are usually associated with mainland Indian states, attacking women. But the most important thing here in Manipur today, which this viral video seeks to highlight, is the complete absence of the state. The state seems to have withered away. Because in this video, you will see the policemen not only handing over these women to the mob, but also witnessing as mute spectators the ordeal that these women have undergone. Today in Manipur, more than 5,000 assault rifles and other assorted lethal weapons have been given out, I'm stressing, given out, not looted, by the different rioting mobs. Because the policemen have got carried away by ethnic passions, they have not behaved as professionals, they have handed these weapons. And today the biggest challenge for bringing back a semblance of law and order in Manipur, the biggest challenge for the central forces who have been deployed in large numbers now, is to recover these weapons. Because if troublemakers, if a rioting mob retains so many weapons in their hands, it's very difficult to prevent violence. Usually what happens, when the mob is in a rioting mode, security forces with superior weapons use force to bring things under control. Right. But and then practice area domination and stuff like that. But here, these mobs, some of these new, parochial ethnic groups, they are in possession of large number of lethal weapons. And in Northeast, even average young people, they know how to shoot and all that. They always use their hunting
Right,
rifles.
Mr. Bhaumik, just to interrupt there, that you have brought in this aspect of how huge weapons and which are found in Manipur has played a key role in the ethnic violence. But there's been another angle which has also surfaced. Do you think that the narcotics trade has played a role in the Manipur violence?
What? I didn't follow that question.
I'm saying that you've clearly mentioned as to how the weapons being found in Manipur and people using weapons have rather incited the ethnic clashes there. But do you think that the narcotics trade has played a role in the Manipur violence?
Well, let me get this narcotics thing clear. There has been an attempt by the government and people close to, the ruling party to brand the cookies as, drug traffickers. Cookies have been planting poppy cultivators and all that. Cookies have been, not only cookies, various, ethnic communities on the borders with Myanmar have been planting poppy because the government in Manipur has never tried any crop substitution. What grows in the plains, the wet rice cultivation of the Imphal Valley, which the Meitei's practice, can't be done in the hills, in the upper gradient. So you need other kinds of crops there.
Right.
In the absence of any crop substitution program, the Burmese drug lords have taken this advantage because of the troubled situation in Myanmar, where these Burmese drug lords can't access their own poppy fields. They have come in and encouraged the Manipur farmers, and some of them are cookies, but all of them are not. Let me get this right. They have started planting poppy cultivation. Now there is a huge focus on, we are trying to demolish poppy cultivation and that's why this has happened. No.
Right.
There is also an ongoing big-time trade of processed Burmese drugs. Drugs which are made in Myanmar and which pass through Manipur to other places in India, the big Indian market.
Right.
Now in this, it will be very wrong to blame the cookie. The Itocha drug cartel is not cookie, it's primarily a Meitei organization. And there are a large number of important people in Manipur who are involved in backing these drug traffickers. And most of them are not cookies. And also, let me draw your attention to the fate of the Meitei Manipuri police officer, my dear sister, Tanajam Brinda, who had to step down from service. She was under so much pressure after trying to book large number of politically very influential people for stocking up on Burmese drugs. So this drug thing and this narcotics thing has been used to demonize and defame a particular community in Manipur, the cookies. But
Right.
this is a very big trade, very big volumes, and therefore Burmese drug lords, different kinds of political elements in Manipur, even some elements in the security forces have been involved. In the
Right.
past, couple of serving officers of security forces have been arrested with drugs. So this
Right, Mr.
drug
Bhaumik,
trade is not
absolutely.
something that's associated with a particular community. Let me get that right.
Right, absolutely. Now, how much of a role does the undefined border of Mizoram have in the creation of the situation that it is now in Manipur?
You see, the Myanmar's border with Mizoram and Manipur are open borders. And there is an old colonial regulation which permits the local tribes people to move 30 kilometers into each other's territory without any requirement for any passport or visa. This is the old 1937 regulation. And why this was done? Because the Mizos of Mizoram, the Kukis of Manipur, and the Chins of Myanmar, they're ethnic cousins. They're part of the big Zomi tribe. So when the colonial power divided their homeland into different entities, this regulation was put in place to allow them to move back and forth. Now there is a new narrative which has caught up in India, about this illegal infiltration. Everything is seen in the prism of illegal infiltration, demographic change. But the fact is that from times immemorial, these Chins, Kukis and Mizos, they have moved back into each other's area because this was their larger ethnic homeland, which the colonial power then divided into national territorial boundaries. So the point is here that in Myanmar, because the situation has degenerated sharply and a civil war type situation persists, since the February 21 coup. And the Burmese military's operation is legendary. And the Chin states have been affected, the Sagaing has been affected. So these areas on the border with Northeast India has been severely affected by Burmese military operation.
Right.
And therefore, large number of these people, especially the Chins, have been fleeing into Manipur and into Mizoram because this is where their ethnic cousins are. To think that this is illegal infiltration and that it has been encouraged by something is absolutely wrong narrative.
Right.
This is the new saffron narrative of illegal infiltration, which they use in the case of Assam, in the case of other eastern states, infiltration from Bangladesh. Every Bengali is seen as a Bangladeshi. Here, every Chin or Kuki is seen as an infiltrator. The Kukis have lived in Manipur kingdom from time immemorial. But their ethnic cousins, Chins, they live in Myanmar. If they are fleeing into India in a situation which is producing refugees because of the sustained conflict in Myanmar, now may I remind you that India has sheltered, though India is not a signatory of the 1951 Refugee Convention, India has sheltered refugees from Tibet, from Bangladesh in 1971, from Sri Lanka's Tamil areas in the North Jaffna Peninsula, even Pakistan and Afghanistan, Hindu refugees from Pakistan, they still come in bits and pieces. And then, of course, refugees from Afghanistan. So India is a country which has sheltered. Now, technically, these are all illegal migrants because no refugee who flees his own country under pressure takes a passport and gets a visa. So technically, they are all illegal migrants. To play it up, this whole thing in the prism of illegal migration is to overlook the crisis in Myanmar, which is producing a refugee situation.
All right. All right, Mr. Bhaumek. Now, the Meiteis living in Mizoram are also now leaving and going to places where they feel protected. Is there a way to bridge the trust deficit between the two communities at the moment?
Well, a large number of Kukis have fled into Mizoram. I have been saying for a long time that this conflict in Manipur, if not contained early enough, will have ramifications in the whole region, and especially in Mizoram, where, as I said, the Kukis are the ethnic cousins of the Mizo. Now, Mizoram organizations have started warning Meiteis and asked them to go back to Manipur, and this seems to be some kind of a retaliatory move to the ordeal that the Kukis have been facing. So the need of the hour was to control this crisis quickly, but that was not the case. The local police itself, and some of these police people are patronized by the political elements, especially those in power, have given out weapons. Now, with so many weapons out in the hands of troublemakers, very difficult to contain it. And therefore, for 75 days now, this problem has persisted. This has led to a hardening of positions. Politically speaking, it was important to start an inter-ethnic dialogue. It's also important to concede the demands for tribal autonomy that the Kukis have been making for a long time, as the Nagas have been making. Now, there is a feeling in Assam and Manipur that conceding tribal autonomy may lead to demands for separate state. That has not been the case in Tripura. When the tribals are granted autonomy, nobody is backing the demand for a separate state in Tripura. So I think genuine tribal autonomy will make the tribal stakeholders in Manipur. At the moment, the bitterness has gone too deep, and therefore most of the Kukis that you speak to, especially the leaders, want a separate administration. That can only complicate matters.
Thank you so much for joining us on WION and sharing your insights with us on this. Thanks very much.